I've really tried, like, okay, channel. I'm not hearing anything. I'm trying to expand. I'm trying to receive. And it feels like crickets. Like I don't know where my intuition is. I'm not getting all the signs and the synchronicities. And if anything, it's been this kind of like my brain has hurt. Like it's just been so painful and tiring to figure it out, as if I'm constantly trying to find a piece to the jigsaw puzzle that's like 500 fucking pieces and I can't find it, right? And so I felt like this morning it was like, oh, remember to live from your soul self, Corinne, and remember to receive by keeping the channel open rather than like narrowing in the lens and trying to be so pinpoint focused that you're missing so much in the periphery, and you're also missing just the ease of having it drop in. This is Corinne Bloom, and you're listening to Raw Conversations. Hello, beautiful people, beautiful souls. How are you? So today I've been thinking about what I want to talk about, and I'm going to begin with what happened in a meditation this morning, which was very simple yet very profound, and it was a really good reminder, and so I'm wanting to share it with you. It's really easy in life to kind of shrink down, and when I say shrink down, I don't mean it in a way that minimizes being human. Like being human and having this human experience is very real, right? So I don't want to diminish it. But it's very easy to kind of shrink down into here, like literally this part of our entire body and being. Meaning, if you're not watching the video, it's your brain, your mind, your head. And so I was meditating, and I was, I do my grounding and kind of my connecting through and aligning and all of these things to kind of bring me into my center. And I always feel this importance to connect to the divine and to the earth, the core of the earth and the source of the divine. And then I feel like I'm the conduit, the kind of middle point of both, because we are made of a little bit of everything. But as I was doing this and I was kind of in my meditation, sitting with, I could just feel that everything that is going on in my life right now, I am perceiving it through, or I'm energetically centered in the area of my head. And I can drop it down into my body. I can drop it down into my heart. As you know, I talk a lot about, it's like, come down into the embodiment, come into the heart. The mind is not the master. It's the tool. It's the servant, right? But what happened this morning in my meditation is, it was when I reconnected to my soul, which I do as well every single day. It all of a sudden like opens up the aperture, right? It becomes so much more expansive and vaster and limitless and infinite, because that is our true being, right? That's who we truly are. And so again, it's not to diminish or belittle or make smaller or make less important the human. Like, it is the vehicle, it is the vessel through which our soul gets to have this experience. But it's basically to say, zoom out, because it's really easy to zoom in and just be, not even like zoom into the human experience, which I would say is an embodied experience, but we zoom all the way into this really concentrated form of just here in our head, just in our forehead, right? and the moment that I really tapped into the essence of my soul, it was like the whole channel opened up from my crown chakra up, and it was all of a sudden, I always see light. I immediately see light. There's this, like, whatever you want to call it, a channel, a highway, a motorway, a pathway, people see it and feel it and sense it and know it in different ways. But there's definitely this opening where there is this exchange of energy. It's a two-way road. It's not just a one-way. And anytime and every time that opens and I connect to it, it just feels so lovely. That's the real crux of it. It just feels so lovely and like home. So today I want to talk about how to live from our soul self and how to live within that essence and that energy and how it feels maybe different to how we quite often live from a very linear, narrow, teeny tiny perspective. And we have to hold both, right? It's hard to just be in this expansive soul space all the time, right? So I'm going to dive straight into it today. So I want you to take a moment and I want you to close your eyes if you can. If you're driving, obviously don't do this at a later point, but you can even just tune into this is going to require a little bit of self-awareness. I'm assuming that most of you are there. I want you to just recognize, to feel, to tune into how you are ordinarily perceiving your life. Like, where in your body are you observing, witnessing, thinking about, feeling, perceiving your life, your experiences, what's going on for you on a day-to-day basis? And if you find that it's in your head, I want you to just notice for you, what does that feel like? What does it feel like to have, as if you had eyes that are through your mind? And it might be you're like, Corinne, I feel it in my stomach. I feel it in my solar plexus. I feel it in my heart or my chest. I feel it in my throat. Wherever it is for you, it's like, imagine having eyes that are seeing from that particular spot in your body. And if you can, as best as you can, just notice, like if you were to see that as a lens of a camera, notice if it's narrow or wide, if it's darker or more shadowed, or if it's light and bright. There's no right, wrong, good, bad. Let me make that very, very clear. It's just to understand for you, what does this perspective look like? What does the lens look like? You know, it's almost like, does it have a vignette, or is it super open and expansive? Is it square? Is it circular? Is it narrow? Is it wide? Whatever it is, there's no right or wrong, but just get to know it, feel it, see it, sense it. And then I also want you to feel into, what does it energetically feel like? Does it feel expansive? Does it feel contracted? Do you feel free? Do you feel claustrophobic? It can be anything in between these two, but I'm trying to offer the spectrum, right? So just get to know what that feels like. So for me, I'll just share what my experience was like. When I was focused in on this part of my head, it felt small. It felt like the aperture was kind of like zoomed in, right? And I was just feeling this part of my body that felt like this kind of spherical part, but it was like, there's so much more to my body and being, but the concentration was really in this one level, in this one realm. It's almost like the image that comes through is, if you're in a big parking garage and there's loads of different levels, I'm just not functioning, I'm focusing on one of those floors, right? Instead of taking in the whole like accordion that opens up and you see all the different levels and layers. Now, if you connect to your soul, and if you haven't connected to your soul before, I will guide you through that in a moment. I'm going to try and throw that in. But if you connect to your soul, your essence, the part of you that you know to be your true self, that you can expand into, and because it's the same thing, if you, as I talked about earlier, you can connect to when you're maybe in meditation or you're breathing or something that brings you into, it could be chanting, it could be singing, something that brings you really into a space where you feel like you're in your body and you're embodied, and then you're connecting to something that's greater than you. Feel what that feels like. Feel what it feels like when you feel centered, grounded, calm. Your nervous system is relaxed. You feel connected. You maybe even feel like a greater presence. Call it the divine, call it source, call it spirit, call it God, call it love. But you're tuning into a frequency and energy of something that is beyond your flesh and bone and your body. When you connect to that, notice what that feels like. And I'm almost laughing because I'm like, does it feel expansive or does it feel contracted? And like, pretty much the answer is going to be like, yeah, it feels expansive, Corinne, because when we connect in that way, normally the energy, or I'll explain the energy that I feel. And again, there's no right or wrong. There's no one way, right? But when I connect into that space, even if I do it right now, it's expansive. It has this kind of like warm, fuzzy feeling. It kind of almost makes me want to like not shiver in a bad way, but it's like this, woo, as if somebody is just there to touch and embrace you and to hug you and hold you. It's very loving. It's very warm. It has this golden hue to it. And it feels like this all of a sudden, this like this ability to inhale and exhale simultaneously, because it's like the as if you were stuck in a really small space and all of a sudden you can just stretch out and you're like, oh, this feels so comfortable, right? To me, that's when the spirit, the soul, the energy of who we are gets to expand beyond the confines of our body. And it's not limited to our physical body, right? But it's limited sometimes to the energetic way that we hold in. And sometimes we need to ground. We need to ground our spirit into our body, because it's like, it reminds me of something that one of my best friends says, because she can really go out there, and her thing is she needs like grounding. And she's like, Corinne, because I'm a pretty grounded person. She goes, Corinne, you're the potato at the end of the string of my balloon. And so, sometimes we need the potato to like ground us in. For some people, it's really hard to kind of go astral. And for some, it's really easy to go astral, but very challenging to get grounded and be in the body and root ourselves down. And I think the beauty of being human, or soul, having a human experience, is we get to do both. We get to learn how to be expansive and etheric and astral and all of these things, whilst being in a very, matter based, 3D based, embodied form that is anchored and rooted to the earth. So again, I feel like it's like, how do you marry the ether and the earth? What you could say is metaphysical and what is material. I love the combination of the two. I think that's what we are, and that's what makes us really unique and really special, right? So when I expanded into my soul self, it was like there was this relief, this feeling of just relief. And it's like, oh, instead of trying to figure it out on this one level of the garage, right? This one like P1, you know what I mean? Instead of just being on that one level and seeing things from a much more narrow aperture, from a much more narrow lens, that kind of is like, okay, I have these set of problems and these are the things that I have to do next. And this is what I need to do to try and sort it out and figure it out and try to get to the next step of my life, whatever. There was this like kind of settling back, as if you could just relax your back and lean up against some invisible post that is supporting you. And it's super comfy. It's really lovely. And there was like, okay, what if you don't have to focus so hard and narrow in so hard? And you actually can expand and open up the channel and just allow yourself to receive. And it reminded me, I even heard the message from my soul, like, remember, Corinne, when you were trying to find home. And this was in a time where I was doing a lot of theta healing. So I could tap into that brainwave pretty quickly, pretty frequently. And I would do it in my own personal life. And in short, just to give context, my partner and I at the time, we packed up our entire life and we moved to Spain. We still had our business in London, but we moved to Spain. And we wanted to start a family, and I got pregnant, and then soon realized that like that wasn't the place. It wasn't the place for numerous amounts of reasons. And so it felt right to come back to the UK for the pregnancy and for the birth and the kind of birth that I wanted. And yet it was like, well, where? We didn't want to be in the city. It was just not our thing. We wanted to be really in the countryside. And so I remember we were driving in the car, and I tuned in, and I was like, okay, where is this place? Like, where is it? Where's this place? And I got this very clear sign that it starts with a B. I was like, okay, it starts with a B. And so I was looking in this general area that we were looking at, and I'm like, broccoli? There's a place called Broccoli. I was like, no. And I don't know if we drove through it or looked at it on the map or something, but it was very clear. It's like, no. And then we were trying to find an intermediary like place to stay because we had no home, right? We had given up everything. So we needed a place to stay. And we had some friends that were like, yeah, sure, come and stay in our guest room, just get yourself settled and figure out where you want to be. And funnily enough, the place was called Blackheath, which started with a B. So long story short, that's where we ended up, and, found a home that was really bright and perfect and beautiful. And it's where I gave birth to my daughter and where we were for, the beginning of her life. And so the reason why I remembered this memory is because that entire search process was all completely, for lack of a better term, channeled. It wasn't something that I went in with my brain and I was like, how do I figure this out? Where do we go? What makes sense? What's logical? Which town, that gets that kind of narrow and almost claustrophobic. Sorry, I can't speak today. And, anxious or panicky, or, there's this kind of effort that comes through with it when we try to figure out our lives. And actually, it was the complete opposite space of just, I'm just going to tune in. I'm going to tune in and I'm going to listen. And so it was this expansive, wide, the channel was very open, and I was receiving the information and I wasn't judging it. I wasn't trying to interpret it. I had to use my brain a little bit to go, okay, what places start with a B? That makes sense. And there was a little bit of a process of elimination, but the whole thing happened in such a way that it literally just dropped in. And when we were staying with our friends in this kind of transitional phase, there was an apartment that came up that was close by that we really liked, but something in me, I'd also seen something else that was above our budget. And when I saw that one online, I just knew that that was going to be our home, but we were kind of pushing for this other one because it was more within our budget and it was closer to the park and all of these things. And it fell through. We didn't get it. And I just was like, maybe this other place is still available. Let's see it. I know it's above our budget, but I just knew it. I had this certainty that was the place, because that was the place I was going to give birth to my daughter. And of course, lo and behold, it just completely fell into place. So again, this makes the argument for lack of a better term, that when something is for you and it's meant for you, it just happens with ease and grace. Now, I'm just going to pause for a second and say, I don't always live my life like that. And so in my meditation this morning, it was like, Corinne, do you remember this? Because the process of trying to find home for 2.5 years that I've been in has been, I've really tried, okay, channel, I'm not hearing anything. I'm trying to expand. I'm trying to receive. And it feels like crickets. I don't know where my intuition is. I'm not getting all the signs and the synchronicities. And if anything, it's been this kind of my brain has hurt. It's just been so painful and tiring to figure it out, as if I'm constantly trying to find a piece to the jigsaw puzzle that's 500 fucking pieces and I can't find it, right? And so I felt like this morning it was remember to live from your soul self, Corinne, and remember to receive by keeping the channel open rather than narrowing in the lens and trying to be so pinpoint focused that you're missing so much in the periphery, and you're also missing just the ease of having it drop in. So I've been in this state for years now where I'm trying to figure it out. And I know with every little bit of my being that's yeah, Corinne, that's not how it's going to happen. It's not going to happen like that. And I'm yeah, I know that, God damn it, but I don't know how to switch it. And sometimes it's just coming into this place of maybe we've let go 1,000,000 times. And it's on the million and first time where it's like, okay, I've clicked back into it. I've clicked back into the channel. I've surrendered truly enough in a very gentle and simple way. It's not forced surrender. It's not like, I'm going to surrender and I'm going to make it happen, right? I'm trying to control the surrender, because people do that, right? We do that. It's really just like, you sit back into that metaphoric post that's super comfy and cushy that holds you, and it opens up. And then I trust that the next phase will be that the information will come in, because I'm giving, like, my happy place this last go of trying to see if, home comes up, and I'm having to profoundly trust. But it was a beautiful thing this morning that it was like, oh, maybe try living from your soul self. Maybe try it from that place. And again, we're going to oscillate. We're going to come in and out of it. I'm going to come back into the human and the mind and the mental and the logical and the rational and the figuring it out. And the point is, like, come back home, begin again. Take that breath to reset. And it's not that one is better than the other, but it's like, don't forget your soul self, because quite often we forget it. Okay. So it's just a little story to maybe help remind you to come back into that space. And what does the perspective and the lens look like when you're coming from your soul self? So for those of you that are like, yeah, Corinne, I don't know what that means. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to reach my soul self. Let's try and do a little tiny meditation and see if we can get you in. And if you're finding that hard, you can do a soul reading session, or you can do something that is local to you, that feels like it's something that grounds you into who you truly are and gives you the ability to tune into this part of you. So sometimes guidance and support is helpful, right? Just to kind of click us in. And then, of course, it's about, like, can you remember to come back into that space as frequently and as often as you can on your own, right? Okay, so taking a deep breath in and letting it go, closing your eyes. And you can be sitting, you can be lying down, you can be on a chair, you can be cross-legged. Doesn't matter. You can be in your car, you can be in a cave. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're taking a moment right now to sit and be with yourself. The intention is to be in a space of self-awareness, which simply just means presence. And the intention of, I'm going to be here with me, for me. I'm going to listen. I'm going to feel. And the first word that comes in is, do you trust yourself? Do you trust yourself enough to just sit in the stillness, in the silence for a moment, to be with yourself without running, without escaping, without distracting, without numbing, without reasoning? Can you just be here with yourself without needing to do anything else, without needing to figure anything out? And that there's no right or wrong way to do this. You're simply dropping into this moment, into presence, into awareness, with and for yourself. So feel into the energy of your body and your being, and feel into your breath. Notice if it feels tense or if it feels relaxed. And in the spaces of tension, most especially your solar plexus, your jaw, your shoulders, just bring extra breath into these places. And notice the feeling of almost like the ocean, the rhythm of the ocean, where the inhalation leads into the exhalation, which leads into the inhalation again. And that there's no real beginning or end. It just flows, one infinite breath from one inhale to another exhale and to another inhale. And slowing down that process so that the inhalation lasts a little longer and the exhalation lasts a little longer. And then the moments in between the inhalation and exhalation and inhalation again, those moments just widen a little bit to create enough space where you can feel the stillness and the presence in between. And allow it to just flow naturally. Nothing needs precision. It's just your natural flow of your inhalation, exhalation, and the beautiful moments of stillness in between. And notice what happens to your energy, what happens to your field. If you can feel your field, which simply means the energy that is around you, that is you. And imagine instead of your vertical body, whether you're sitting or lying down, that almost you can expand horizontally, almost as if you can become the horizon or become a vast lake or an ocean. Feel yourself expansive, borderless, limitless. Or you might see it or feel it as a sphere that continues to expand. There are no hard edges. There are no limitations. There's just this breathing, living, expanding space. And notice what it does to your breath, how it makes your body feel, your nervous system. Maybe you feel a little calmer, a little lighter, a little softer, a little bit more warm and fuzzy. And then feeling, seeing, sensing, knowing an image of roots like a beautiful big oak tree that has these deep and widespread roots, seeing that beneath you, from your sacrum down your legs. You can imagine it going down into the earth, or if you see yourself floating in space, just rooting down beneath you. But this beautiful, vast network of roots that not only ground you and root you, but interconnect you to all things, but in this deeply rooted, grounded way that feels solid, that feels safe, that feels centered. And as you see, feel, imagine, know those roots, And you can allow them to keep on crawling down and burrowing in to earth, to space, to matter. Then bringing the energy up through your body as if it was the trunk of the tree. Feeling the solidity, but the malleability, the freedom, the ease of just resting in that core, that trunk. And then from that space, lifting up through the crown of your head, your ears, your neck, your shoulders, seeing the branches moving upwards and outwards. Another network that reaches up and out, equally vast, equally expansive, but is reaching up and out. Maybe it looks more etheric. Maybe it looks like branches. Maybe it looks like silver threads. But seeing all the points of connection, the network of these branches, these roots that are reaching upwards, anchoring you to the above. So you have the anchor to the below and the anchor to the above, and you are the trunk, the center, the core in the middle. And once those two are in place, almost like you've gently pegged four corners or many corners, as if you were pegging a tent below and above, I want you to feel an energetic line, as if it's a beam of light that goes from the core, from your sacrum, you could say your root chakra, all the way up from your root chakra to your belly, your solar plexus, your heart center, your throat, your third eye, the crown of your head, and above, maybe about 6 inches, 8 inches above, and then beaming all the way up, as far up as it can go. Allowing that beam of light to widen, to glow more, and imagine it reaching all the way up until the very source of creation itself. You might see it as a beautiful golden white light. You might see it as a waterfall of light. You might see it as this omniscient, omnipresent presence. You might feel it as love, as consciousness, as divine. You might see an image. You might hear a sound, a vibration. Or you might just have a sense or a knowing of what it is for you. There's never any right or wrong. There's your relationship to Source, to God, to love, to consciousness, to the creator and creation of all that is. And allow that energy to pour down into you as if it's a shower of golden light. Allowing it to permeate your entire body and being, every cell, every fiber, every bone, every muscle, every organ, every hair on your body, everything. Allow it to just permeate all of you, inside and out, top to bottom, right to left, front to back. And all around you, as if there's this beautiful bubble of golden light. And you are emanating this light from within it, being the source of the sun, expanding out through rays of light. And get to know the essence of Who am I in my infinite, immortal soul self? A droplet of the divine, a spark of God, a breath, a note of consciousness itself in your unique form, your soul signature, imprint, fingerprint. You might see it, sense it, feel it, hear it, know it. How you perceive it is perfect. And all you need to do is be curious. What does this feel like? And feel it through that expansive space, not through your mind, not through the pinpoint of the mind, but through the expansive horizon that you began with. Take in the information by receiving it as if you were like a porous sponge that is just soaking in water. Receive the information. And maybe it makes sense now. Maybe it makes zero sense. That's okay. Trust that you will understand it, know it, feel it, embody it in your own way, in your own time, when the time is right. Trust it. Can you trust yourself? Can you trust your soul? Can you trust Source, God, love, consciousness, creation, universe, multiverse, all that is? Breathing into it and exhaling. And taking one hand to your heart, another hand to your belly, and just anchoring this feeling, this sensation, this experience into your heart and into your belly. And drawing this light in as if you were watching the final rays of the sun as it sets behind maybe a hill or the sea. The final rays that are reaching out, and then they get shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter as the sun just plop goes behind the hill or the horizon. And the light falls behind it and down and into the hillside, into the valley, into the sea. Feeling it draw in to your heart, into your belly, into the core of your being, knowing that you can expand it back out into the sunrise, into the high noon sun that beams its rays all across the realm. And that you have the ability and the capacity to expand and draw in as much as you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, as often as you want. That you are this light. That you can be as big as you need and want, and you can bring yourself in to as little, not in a teeny tiny way, but sometimes we need to draw our energy in, and that's okay. But that you are in complete control of this, and that this energy, this light, this expanse is who you truly are. Imprinted in your body, in your physical body, seeing, feeling, knowing, sensing that it rests within you. It is not separate to you. It's not outside of you. It's something that you can simply inhale and expand into, and exhale and soften and draw into if you want to bring it back into your core. And for now, setting the intention of, I would like to get to know the feeling, the energy, the character even of this expanse. of this essence, this energy, my spirit, my soul self. Bringing your hands back down into your lap or onto your lower belly if you're lying down. Taking a deep breath in. Letting it go. Gently drawing in your focus, your attention, your awareness back into the room, back into your body, back into your chest, back into this present moment, here and now. Grounded, rooted, connected, safe, secure, centered, here, now. And in your own perfect timing, gently opening your eyes. Welcome back. Tap into that space as often as you like. Build your own relationship, your own knowing to it. This is not something that you need to learn how to do. It's something that you need to remember how to be. It's you. It's already here. It's just a remembering. So get curious, be playful with it, be light with it. Set the intention as often as you can to just tap in. Ooh, what does it feel like to live from my soul self? Let me not forget it. Let me invite it in a little more. Let me see through its eyes. Let me ask it questions and let me receive the answer without forcing it, pushing it, controlling it, trying to figure it out. Sit back, lean back into that metaphoric, super comfy, cushy post and welcome it in. So I'm going to leave it at that. As always, take it or leave it as feels right for you, and loving you from afar. Bye. Thanks for being here. You've been listening to Raw Conversations with Corinne Bloom. Thanks so much for showing up, listening in, and being a part of the conversation with me.